From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, a hearing concerning the Fbx 4 was canceled yesterday and has left a lot of unanswered questions. We have more details in this report. Scheduled as a hearing that could have freed the last 3 of the 4 men, Kevin Peace, Eugene Vent, and George Freeze, turned into something very different this morning.
Governor Walker, we, the people of Alaska, are demanding that you declare Eugene Vent, Marvin Roberts, Kevin Pease, and George Freeze innocent men and
Late yesterday afternoon, only hours before the men were set to be in the courthouse, Judge Paul Lyle vacated the proceeding.
Very emotional day for everybody. We had hoped that we would see the 4 men released, but there's still work to be done.
No one really knew the details about the deal, but John Hartman's brother said the men ultimately would walk free.
They were just going to make the deal anyway. Why make me do that? Why put me through that?
Details of that deal were outlined in a 4-page ruling by Judge Lyle. The Fbx 4 would withdraw their claims of innocence and in exchange would be released immediately, but not without agreeing to not sue, and further with the prospect of possible re-prosecution should any, quote, new evidence come forward.
None of us knew the specifics, and so we were hoping for the best outcome.
Thought was the state must have done something wrong.
It's pretty outrageous. I think the deal is outrageous.
Today at a rally held outside of the Rabinowitz courthouse, longtime supporters of the men called upon Governor Bill Walker to step in.
Governor Walker has made an art out of remaining silent on this. It's time for that to end. These are the people that put him in office, and they're the people that will make sure he doesn't get back in if something doesn't change.
In his ruling, Judge Lyle said he wasn't aware of the legal basis that would allow the men's immediate release if the state claims they are guilty and the men remove their innocence claim. He did, however, say the governor could grant clemency or a pardon to the Fbx 4.
of course they're going to take that deal. They're dreaming of being at home where it's warm with their family, where they're loved and safe.
They have no more a right to hold them than they have to hold me or you or anybody who's watching.
Lawyers from both sides now have 10 days to file legal briefings that would further support the deal, something Lyle says he's not disapproving but holding in abeyance until the filings are reviewed. Supporters of the men say after 18 years they will continue to fight for exoneration.
We demand that you let them go today.
This is Stephanie Woodard reporting. We reached out to Governor Bill Walker's office for comment on the case. According to spokeswoman Grace Jang, Walker is considering both the clemency and the pardon process. However, an official statement reads, quote, "Until the expedited agreement process is resolved, it is inappropriate for the governor to get involved." Continuing as Russia continues its Arctic military buildup with the December 9th deployment of a S-300 equipped air defense missile regiment on the Novaya Zemlya Islands, Senator Dan Sullivan continues to press U.S. brass on the importance of Alaska's strategic location. Speaking at a Senate Arms Services Committee hearing this week, Sullivan referenced a section of the NDAA requiring Secretary of Defense Ash Carter form an operation plan for the Arctic. A pair of high-ranking military officials told the committee that the U.S.'s single icebreaker does not compare to the fleets processed by other Arctic and non-Arctic countries.
We only have one operating icebreaker, Senator Sullivan. This is unthinkable for the United States of America. And clearly that Coast Guard platform, we need more of that, and we need the other kinds of wherewithal that allow us to assert our sovereignty in the Arctic.
Russia has 38 plus 2 icebreakers. The Chinese, who are not an Arctic power to say the least, have 16 icebreakers, etc. The Danes, a nation of 5 million, have 8 icebreakers.
When we come back, last night what started out as a normal borough assembly meeting evolved into something interesting. We'll explain. Also, UAF is debuting 3 plays as part of their winter shorts program with subjects ranging from improv to comedy. Stay with us. Welcome back. Yesterday afternoon, Alaska State troopers received a report of a death in the West Fairbanks area. Responding officers found 57-year-old Ronald McKnight dead at home at Roland Road. Now, troopers say the body will be sent to the state medical examiner's office for autopsy to determine the cause of death and whether or not foul play was involved. The case has been turned over to the Alaska Bureau of Investigation. The North Star Borough Assembly met last night voting on a military noise overlay that would add new distinctions to zoning information. Mike Fussell files this report.
The roar of an F-16 jet taking off or gunshots coming from a firing range. Those are just some of the noises that are a byproduct of having the U.S. military as a neighbor. An ordinance was brought before the Fairbanks North Star Borough Assembly last night to give property owners a heads up that those sounds might be traveling to their doors. That's if they live in specified areas outside of Eielson and Fort Wainwright.
It's imperative for constituents to know when they may be purchasing land or planning to build on a piece of land that could cause them to complain about military operations noise.
Members of the military say the ordinance would help further their mission and reduce conflicts.
We very much take into consideration and want to reduce the operational impacts that we have on our neighbors. By not doing it, we increase the likelihood that we will have encroachment and conflict and incompatible uses around the base.
But some community members say they believe the ordinance would give the military more leeway to create noise. That's despite any language in the code giving authority to those on any military site to do so. Some use their 3 minutes of public testimony to make noise themselves against war in general.
Don't kill! Don't kill! Well, they have war!
In response to a handful of anti-war protesters, Assembly members reiterated that the ordinance itself was being put in place to provide information. That's to potential homebuyers or people worried about hearing loss in the area.
It just lets people know if they're going to move into a house that is in this area that they should be forewarned there may be up to 65 dB of noise and they should find out about it. It doesn't authorize the military to make the noise. It doesn't anything beyond document our current reality.
In the end, the ordinance passed with a 7-1 vote, Lance Roberts being the only member to speak in opposition to the move. Reporting from the Borough Chambers, I'm Mike Fussell.
Well, it's time for Winter Shorts again, and Sarah Dubowski has the story.
Winter Shorts at UAF is a student-produced theater production presented by the Student Drama Association, or SDA. This year's show has 3 acts, each running 15 to 45 minutes.
Well, the thing about shorts and about SDA in general is that it offers an opportunity for students of all types, not just theater students, to come in and do theater and actually perform or do tech or do design.
The first act is an improv group called the Ground Squirrel. This show is all about fast thinking and audience participation.
I'm running a improv-based theater group called the Ground Squirrels Improv, and we would meet, every week over the semester, and we just do improv comedy games. So it's all improvised, there's no script. We usually try to make it funny, and this is our first big performance of the semester.
The second act is a collaboration of theater students creating the dance piece called Devised. The group uses choreography, movement, and lighting to showcase growth and self-discovery. The final act is a shortened version of the classic Greek tragedy Antigone. This project is designed and directed by Carl Sage and is meant to be a demonstration of his undergraduate theatrical education.
Well, Antigone by Sophocles is a classic tragedy. It tells the story of what happens when Antigone defies the edict of the new king of Thebes in regard to burying one of the 2 leaders of a recent civil war.
Winter Shorts will be presented at the Salisbury Lab Theater this weekend, and tickets are just $5. Sarah Dubowski reporting.
Joe Cook is up next with local sports, and he continues prep basketball team previews with the North Pole Patriots and the Delta Junction Huskies almost pull off an upset in hockey. All that plus the play of the week after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Sports fans. Time to get the weekend started right with the Friday Sportscast. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs and Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights battled in Game 1 on the East Coast today. Fairbanks trailed 3-1 after 2 periods of hockey, but scored 3 unanswered in the final period for a 4-3 come-from-behind win. Logan Coombs led the Ice Dogs with 3 points. Fairbanks has now won 4 straight. The teams will skate again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Alaska time in Pennsylvania. And non-conference prep hockey action from Thursday night, North Pole hosted the Delta Junction Huskies. Surprisingly, this was a game. Cameron Smith scored 2 of his 3 goals in the second period for a Delta team short 4 players. It was tied 3-3 at the end of 2. RBL Champaign, Delta's netminder and D3 Wisconsin Superior commit, made 33 saves and shut up the Pats in the second period. However, North Pole scored twice in the first 5 minutes of the third as Dylan Latham scores the go-ahead on a rebound, and then he sets up Darren Donovan with a beautiful one-timer. Hold the phone. Delta would score from near center ice, though, with 3 minutes left to make it 5-4. But Cody Frary responds with a goal, wraparound style. North Pole wins 6-4. Wonder if head coach Chris Linslow said anything after this one.
Well, he said he can rent a sheet of ice after the game, so that got us in the game a little bit. Well, I think we started moving as a team, really like cycling the puck and rolling out of the corner and getting better shift lengths and just smarter plays all around.
Playing big 4A schools like this it's pretty intimidating, but once we get all the rust out and figure out who their strong skaters are and where we need to go with the puck, we start to get into it. We just need to start doing it earlier in the game and we'll do better.
This weekend is the first weekend of postseason matches for high school wrestling teams. Lathrop, North Pole, and West Valley will battle for Mid-Alaska Conference supremacy, while Delta, Allison, Hutchinson, Monroe, Galena, and Valdez will wrestle for the Denali Conference crown. Lathrop has established themselves as one of the best teams in the state, while Allison and Hutchinson have had strong finishes to the regular season. The Valdez Buccaneers will host the Denali Conference Championships. North Pole is the MAC Championship host. The championship tournaments for both conferences will begin on Saturday. The 1 through 3A and 4A state championships will be next weekend in Anchorage. And now we continue our prep basketball team previews tonight with a program with the new man in charge. First-year head coach Steve Peterson is laying down the building blocks for his team out in North Pole. Here's more on the Patriots.
Another interior team went through a coaching change this offseason. After 3 solid seasons as the head coach of North Pole, Steve Bolden moved to Washington State. Now North Pole alum and last year's assistant, Steve Peterson, takes over. He believes this will be a season of improvement for the young underdogs of the Mid-Alaska Conference.
We're really focused in on just the basic, just ball handling, triple threat, just some fundamental stuff. But I think as the season goes on, we're going to grow because we're having great practices. The kids have all bought in to the system, to the idea, from top down, freshmen, seniors. They're all bringing intensity, effort, and competitiveness to everything. So it's been really sweet so far. It's been really good practices.
Along with the coach's son, standout guard Jarrett Peterson, 2 other players will be taking on much bigger roles this year. Sophomore point guard Cameron Pugh and junior forward Taylor Mullet Power DeAngelis.
I feel like I worked pretty hard in the offseason, and I'm just ready to put it to good use, and I want to do as much as I can for our team and help lead victories. I'm like the new leader of the team, since our seniors left, so we got to focus and keep playing hard.
North Pole's last state berth was in 2011. Since then, they've been close, but still third in the 3-team MAC. Before getting back to the big dance, they'll need to overcome some local obstacles.
A big one was probably get to the Anchorage State Tournament, but we got to beat the teams in interior first, so like Lathrop and West Valley. What it seems like, everyone's really excited. I mean, it's a big change, having a new coach and everything, but it seems like it's going to be a really great change, and we're just ready to put in work.
The Patriots will start this year at Boileau Hall to take on 3A Power Monroe at 6 p.m. on Friday, December 18th. Joe Cook reporting.
And now the play of the week. This one came down to a single vote, and the POTW comes from a Monroe senior. Rams forward Dylan Steele goes coast to coast, skating past and through Hutchinson defenders on his way to his 3rd goal of the game. Steele gets the hat trick in a 6-1 victory over Greatland rival Hutch last Tuesday, and the Rams remain undefeated as a result. Steele's coast-to-coast goal is the play of the week. To vote for the next POTW, watch for a new I-5 Interior Top 5 plays on Mondays during the weekend recap. And that's a wrap for Sports Tonight. Tune in tomorrow for the only Saturday sportscast in the interior with our own Mike Fussell. Mike Schultz is next with weather. And as always, we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back in to a Friday edition of the newscast for tonight. And again, we're talking about cold temperatures that are actually warming up a little bit. And we're still looking at warmer temperatures heading into the weekend. And going on through to the first part of next week, could be in the teens by next week. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Here's our photograph for tonight. This was sent in by Carmen Leonelli, the majestic Alaska Range. Beautiful shot there, showing the range in the distance, and of course the Tanal River out in front there. And again, as always, if you have a photograph to share, please send it to photos@ktvf11.com. And we're still looking for those Christmas photos, so don't give up on those either. Here's what's going on as far as your calendar update. These are the places that still have calendars. Personnel Plus, Ice Fog Vapor, 907 Organic, Big Daddy's Barbecue, Graphic North, and the Prescription Center. You can pick those up there, and they make great stocking stuffers. Your numbers today. Today's high, 1 above the low last night, 19 below the record high, 44. That was in 1940, down to 54 below in 1964. Sunrise and sunset under 4 hours of daylight, a loss of 3 minutes from yesterday. Air quality alert through 5 p.m. tomorrow. Fairbanks is in stage 2, unhealthy for sensitive groups, but North Pole, stage 3, unhealthy levels right now, and they are recommending you do not use any kind of burning facilities whatsoever. Just use your heat if you have it available. Okay. Here's our satellite and radar. Again, you can see a little bit of activity moving with this area of low pressure moving across the western and southwestern portions of the state. While most of the energy stays again south of the Alaska Range, a little more energy moving across southeast Alaska too. The big map showing that rain is once again moving back over southeast Alaska, Juneau at 26, Ketchikan 33. Showers around the Anchorage Bowl, snow shower activity. Kodiak, cloudy skies, rain along the Aleutian Chain, 31 degrees at Kodiak and 25 at Cold Bay. Up and down the west coast, temperatures in the single digits. Cold temperatures returning in Barrow, 20 below there, and 0 at Fort Yukon. Lower 48 weather, again looking at a lot of energy moving across much of the country. This is going to spawn some very heavy activity over the deep south, and yet more rain and snow moving across the Pacific Northwest, as you can see here in the outlook for tomorrow across the Texas region. Severe thunderstorms are expected to break out, snow across the Denver area, and then more thunderstorms and showers moving up toward the Great Lakes. And the overall jet stream for the new outlook for next week is once again showing a pulling of cold air down across much of the western half of the country. Just the opposite across the eastern half, still warm, rain, and warm temperatures. Okay, our weather fact for today was in 2008, Louisiana and Mississippi. Nearly 8 inches of snow was reported in many areas across those states, setting an all-time record. And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our kids' weather. And like I said last night, we'll be passing along some interesting weather facts while the kids get ready for their Christmas vacation. And again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. Okay, now tomorrow's forecast for the northern sections: cloudy skies in Barrow, snow showers for Nome, cloudy and cold at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at, once again, scattered clouds at Fairbanks and Delta Junction, mostly cloudy at Healy. And over southeast Alaska, it looks like snow in Juneau with 1 to 2 inches possible, scattered showers for Ketchikan. Over the southwest part of the state, partly cloudy skies in Cold Bay, snow showers for Bethel, and cloudy skies at Kodiak. And down over the south central regions, looking at light snow at Anchorage, snow showers for Homer, and 1 to 3 inches of snow expected in the Valdez area. And our winter trails report for a Friday night is showing that it should be a great weekend. Lots of snow and temperatures very comfortable. Cross-country skiing will be very fast with icy trails, and snow machiners still watch out for those possible avalanche dangers. Here's our forecast for the remainder of the night. Clear skies early, then more clouds moving in. 17 below for the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast 7 below. Mostly cloudy skies and a little colder. Then the warmer air starts to move back in. As you can see here, temperatures warming up to the low to mid-teens for the rest of the 5-day period. No precipitation in the forecast. Overnight lows will also be rising, as you can see, into the plus figures. That's nice to see. So overall, we are getting out of this cold snap and moving back to warmer weather.
Well, that's good news, and thank you, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
Tonight at NBC Nightly News, some major U.S. airlines are banning toy hoverboards because of the risk of online fires. That's up next with Lester Holt.
Be sure and tune in tomorrow night at 6 for a story of a new juice bar in North Pole and coverage of the Gingerbread House contest on the Saturday Fairbanks Evening News.
All righty, from all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a good night.
Good night.